She closes a deal.
Boom,
10K.
boom, boom.
He's watching her. She closes another deal. He's watching her. She closes another deal. And Chubbs is like,
getting credit card number over the phone.
she's just getting credit cards. Boom, boom, boom. Deal. 10K, 10K, 10K. Chubbs is like, whoa, dude, this is like, whoa. Like, so he goes,
I'm like Rich.
he goes, Maurice, how much money did you make?
Yeah.
She goes something like, oh, I just made $7,000.
It was like 6,500.
Yeah, 6,500. I'll never forget the look on this guy's face. He didn't even know what to say.
Show me a paycheck for $70,000. I quit my job right now and come work for you, bro.
And that was kind of the moment where he's like, bro, you know what? Whatever you're doing, I'm doing that. I'm in.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Closers Network podcast, the only podcast you should be listening to if you're looking to add more money to your bank account. That's facts, right? Whether you're new or whether you're seasoned, guys, it doesn't matter. Trust me, you want to be paying attention. By the way, if you haven't noticed, we have a little bit of a different setup today. And before we get started, I just want to let you know, guys, that if you want to work for our sales agency, One Call Closers, all you got to do to schedule an interview is click the first link in the description below, and you'll go ahead and be able to schedule a call. And who knows, you might even end up with somebody that's in the room with us here on the call. We're going to introduce here in a second. We're going to go around. But guys, today in the studio is a little bit different because we do have a four-way podcast going. So let me go ahead and go around and introduce everybody here. So we'll start off with first and foremost, Richard Mugica, founder and CEO of One Call Closers and the Closers Network. Next to him, we got Big Chubbs, a.k.a. Christian Urbina. So guys, Christian was a contractor, believe it or not, just a couple years ago and just decided to dive into the world of remote high-ticket sales. So maybe we can talk a little bit about Christian's journey and where he's at, where he was at, where he's at now, and all the things he's been able to accomplish. And then to the left of me here, we have Coach George, who, if you haven't seen his podcast, I've actually done 3 with him. So you can go back and watch a couple few ones that we just had, but the last one's going to be the most powerful just because I probably sucked as a host here early on in the podcast. When George first came on, I want to say we're probably a little bit better than when he initially started. But that being said, guys, welcome to the show.
Awesome. Welcome up.
Thanks, Mike, man.
Sweet.
Thanks, Mike.
Let's do this. Let's go around. I want to talk about Christian's story a little bit. Let's start there. And then I'm sure that's going to open up a whole topic of conversations here for us. But how long? It's been about 3 years, Chubbs? You've been part of 1CC here?
So I want to say I joined in April of 2020.
April of 2020.
So about 3.5 years.
How was life before 1CC and how's life after 1CC?
Before, so I will say it wasn't bad, but it wasn't, eyes weren't open to what was possible beyond. I guess is the way I can explain it. And then kind of now on the afterward side, it's not even after, it's I would say in like continuation of, significantly better.
Okay. Significantly better. But like, help break that down.
Sure.
Like, what does that actually look like for you on a day-to-day basis?
So less stress. I actually get to help a lot more people. Mike, you kind of talked about it, right? Kind of possibly coming to work with us. I carry a role where I take a lot of the calls and the interviews for individuals looking to now join the team. But honestly, man, I would just say financially, freedom-wise, I got a lot more flexibility in my schedule. Spent a lot of time with the wife, with the kids, but also within work itself, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with before I used to have, and I've talked about this before, but the work-life balance aspect, and then shifting the belief and the perspective, courtesy of your wife, to work-life integration. And so realizing that there's going to be moments even while I'm still working, maybe on an off hours scenario, but my wife understands the reasons as to why, because it brings money in for us to do the things that we get to do.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. So one of the things that we love here at the Closers Network and One Call Closers is money. Yeah. And the idea of making money, right? I always like to tell people, if you're not in the business of loving money, then you probably shouldn't be in sales, right?
Sure.
That's right.
So help us understand, man, like, what was your biggest month in construction? And if you don't mind sharing, what's been your biggest month in the world of high ticket sales?
So my biggest month in construction, so me and Rich, we just went grabbed the bite and we were kind of talking about this. And there's a casino out here called San Manuel Casino.
Yep. My grandma used to go to that all day long, bro, back in the day before she passed. Yeah. That was her spot.
A few years back, they were doing Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's been 10 years. It's been 10 years.
Okay. So it was a few years back. They were doing some renovations and some construction, and basically our company got a contract, and we came in, and it was like, hey guys, we have to have all this work done. And I think it was like the next 3 months. And what I realized about casinos is that they never stop working. Once they go through and they'll do sections of the casino, the stuff that was done 3 years ago is now at the beginning phases of what needs to be done again. So we were given this contract, and basically when I started, I was doing probably 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I was doing that 12 hours a day, 5 a.m. to 5:30. We got a lunch. And then on top of that, again, running the project for my team, I would stay sometimes like an hour later or two just to kind of get paperwork and stuff done. But I was making, so I want to say.
Hourly or salary?
It was hourly. It was hourly.
So you got time and a half?
I got double time after 12.
Okay.
Yeah, but what was double time?
Yeah, so I want to say it was so I was making, so it actually might have been a little more. It might have been around like maybe like $60 an hour or something like that with the double time.
But we did the math.
Yeah, the numbers came out.
How often are you getting double time in that world?
So that wasn't a common thing. Okay. That was, but for the next 2 or 3 months, that project specifically, I was probably pulling in probably about 20 grand a month, maybe 15,000, 15 to 20 grand a month. But that wasn't like a consistent thing. That was like, hey, we had to go and bust our ass to make that happen. And
that's working 84 hours.
Yeah, that was a lot.
So it sounds like
and as an employee.
Yes.
Right? So you brought home half that.
Yes, yeah.
Right? California, right?
Until he started claiming all his kids.
Yes.
Put all my kids on my taxes.
To follow that up, though, in terms of sales, so my biggest month here, I have yet to crack 30K. I've missed it by like a couple $100 each time. I'll say I've done multiple $25,000, $27,000 months. The biggest month I want to say is still the 29K month that we did when I first kind of started. Was probably the biggest one.
Was that when we were out in West Palm Beach?
Not in West Palm Beach.
The month prior to that, you had done it.
No, that one was a 27. That was like 2 months ago.
Okay.
It's like 27 and then like 20 something last month. And so, but yeah, anyways, more consistently making that money as opposed to like a season out.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. But if you look at it from like a normal week.
No.
A normal month. What's a normal month?
A normal month I was making like $4 grand a month.
Okay.
So you're saying that basically those opportunities of double time massive projects are basically like seasonal things.
Yes, like when they came up, like anybody who was in construction, you're like, hey, I'm gonna double down on this because this is the time to go hard. Mm-hmm. This is where the money's at. Yep. Mm-hmm. Whenever you get the opportunity to get into overtime or double time, you're gonna do it because you need not that you need the money, but it's an opportunity, to make more money. Yeah. Correct.
That's right.
Yeah, but now check this out. Okay, so what if we were to ask Chubbs, what if you were to spend that same 84 hours in a week doing high ticket? How much money in a month do you think you'd make? You've never done that.
That's a great question.
But how much more money do you think you'd make?
So to be honest, I probably would crack the 30K, probably in the 40Ks, 50Ks.
Oh yeah. Well there you go.
Yeah. But I put less, to be fair, if I put the same amount of time and effort into the closing side, I would definitely make way more money.
100%.
So here's a funny story, dude. You're gonna remember this, but so once upon a time, Richard and I used to work at Fit Body Bootcamp together, and my biggest month at Fit Body before you had left, I had made like a $38,000 or $39,000 paycheck, right? And I closed a bunch of deals, and it was awesome, right? It was cool. And so I'm fired up. I never had a W-2 before that, right? Other than working at a video store when I was like 15, 16. And I'm thinking my full paycheck's going to be, $38,000, $39,000, whatever it was, dude. So next thing you know, bro, I get my paycheck. I'm fired up. I call my parents up for dinner. Let's go. I'm taking you guys out. We're doing the whole thing. And next thing you know, dude, I open up the check.
How much we talking?
$17,000.
That's crazy.
That's crazy. It was the biggest heartbreak of my life. I was like, what the heck was this $17,000, bro? So I went around, I think like I'm getting conned or something. I don't understand how W-2 works. I've always just owned my own business or been 1099. I just don't know.
You're like, who took my money? Who took my money, bro?
I go talk to Connie. Remember Connie?
Oh, you literally went to go talk to Connie.
I walk over to Connie. I'm like, Connie, what's this? I made like $839. She's like, welcome to W-2, baby. And so it was funny why I said all this is because I remember the next month I claimed 15 dependents, dog. I
yeah.
was like,
Really?
I'm
That's
keeping
the reality.
all my
I'm keeping
money,
all my
bro.
money. That's right.
I claimed 15 dependents the next month, and I was like, I'm not falling into that trap no more.
Don't
bro.
try this at home, folks.
Yeah,
Well, that's
Not legal tax advice.
not,
Dude, I would
not
say-
tax advice.
not tax advice.
I know a lot of construction workers would do that.
Allegedly.
So whenever you would go in construction, whenever you would go into those seasons where you knew you were going to be making a ton of money, you also know there's going to be a lot taken out in terms of taxes. A lot of people would go in and they would change their tax bracket to exempt.
Mm.
In other words, and they kept large portions of their money and not have to worry about that. That was the whole point. I was here to make all that extra
Yeah,
money, not
100%.
have to sit here and pay it all out to the tax
But-
aspect.
But like, okay, so George, you were in taxes, right?
So
Like,
that was my previous offer. So there would be
Oh,
guys
interesting.
who did that and then never changed it back.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause you
so
have
now
to
you have
change
to
it
start
back.
paying.
So
I changed it back very quick.
So
Yeah.
then you get your bill, you get your tax bill. I was like, oh,
Allegedly.
hey, welcome. IRS says you owe 20.
Yeah.
What is the franchise tax board?
Oh yeah, the
12,
FTV, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Boom! It's like, oh, what do I do now? And then so what a lot of guys do is they just stop filing. They're like, oh, I'm not going to file.
Oh no, now they're
And-
back taxes.
Boom! That's what ends up happening. So now they're like, they don't file. The IRS is so incompetent, and they don't, catch up with you until
Like
2,
10 years
3,
later or
4
whatever.
years later.
They're coming after you.
They're coming after you.
So
You can't do
now
that.
you got 5 years unfiled taxes. You got penalties, interest. They owe $100,000.
Dang.
Right? What do you do then?
Yeah.
Bankrupt.
Well, no, okay.
You can't file bankruptcy on it.
Oh, really? I don't know.
Really?
But-
I didn't
but-
know that.
Yeah.
No, you can't file. Dude, do you think they're going to
You
get that?
can,
Well,
but
yeah.
it's got to be older than 3 years.
Oh, okay. There's stipulations to
And
it.
yeah, there's a couple of rules.
Gotcha.
So-
I've forgotten already.
There's a lot of people watching this podcast never not been on W2, right?
Right.
They're on W2,
This is
so they
actually a
didn't even
great
know.
topic.
They have no idea what the heck we're maybe even talking about.
That's
They're
true.
like, wait, guys, I'm a W2. You guys are saying that W2 is like takes a bunch of your money. You're in taxes. How would you explain to somebody like what's the differences between W2
Yeah.
and being your own like company?
Great question.
Yeah.
So when you're a W-2 employee, you've got to pay something called FICA, which is Federal Income Contribution Act.
Yeah.
And it basically pays for your Social Security and your Medicare.
Got it.
Okay, it's 12.5%. Okay, your employer pays half, you pay half.
Got it.
Okay, that's the first portion, comes off the top.
Right off the top.
Right?
You don't even see it. Yeah.
Yeah, you
Got it.
don't see it. Your employer pays 6.35 or 6.75, whatever the number is.
Got it.
So that's that, right? And then on top of that, you pay your federal income tax based on your bracket. So 0 to 40, you pay 10%, 40 to 60, you pay 12, 15, 18, whatever the numbers are, right?
And
Up to
so on.
33% at
Yeah.
the Fed level, above 150 or something like that.
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's federal. And then at the state level, there's more tax.
Yep.
Right. At the state level, same thing. I don't know what California is, but in Illinois, it's 5% flat. for
All the way up
everybody.
to third. Oh, well, this year now,
No.
15%.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal. Okay.
Yeah.
So there. So if you're making over 150 as a W-2, you got 6.5% coming out of your check. You got your
Normal tax bracket.
25%, 30% normal federal income tax,
Yeah.
and then you got California on top. 30
Yeah.
sit right there. That's almost
40,
45%.
45% coming right
Right.
up top.
That's
Okay.
California. So if you're self-employed,
Yeah. Now
Right?
this is the kicker.
so the self-employed, you have to, depending on your structure, right? So this is the important thing, and where a lot of closers especially get burned
100%.
because they're like sole proprietors,
100%.
right? And they don't have a advantageous tax strategy.
That's right.
Mhm.
And then they end up just being their own employee and all of their income gets taxed,
Yes.
right?
Don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that.
And they're not taking the money to the bank.
Oh.
King, baby.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
So, you end up paying the 12.5 right off the top,
Yeah.
right? Because you're the employer and the employee when you're not structured correctly.
That's right.
You pay your federal income and then your state income.
That's right.
So there's hardly any money left for you.
100%.
And you can get really screwed that way. So if you have an advantageous
But when
tax
you are
structure,
structured correctly,
bingo.
Like an S corp.
Yeah,
Like a
Then-
C
you're
corp. Like
taxed
an
as,
LLC.
if you're taxed as a corp,
Yes.
you can shield some of those taxes from the FICA piece,
yes.
right? And you can take some of it as distributions so that you only pay federal income tax, not
Yes.
the FICA piece. And that ends up saving you 13% or something, which, on
Yes.
50 grand still,
It's massive.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a ton.
yeah.
And again, this is not tax advice,
This is not
but
tax
I mean,
advice.
I've had multiple people come into the company. They set themselves up with a good entity structure, and they made 100,000 plus. And I'm talking, dude, they spent like 10,000 or less on taxes.
Yeah.
For sure.
And it's happened multiple times
Sure.
across the board. And the way my mentor described it, he's like, as a W-2, you get taxed on what you earn.
Mm-hmm.
As a employer, you get taxed on what you keep.
Correct.
And that's a big distinction.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. So
So
you can spend money on training. You can
exactly.
Spend money on
You get the
business.
money in, you can spend it, and then depending on what the write-offs are, you can just deduct that
Put
from
yourself
your.
on payroll.
You can put yourself on. I mean, there's so many different freaking.
Put your wife on payroll.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bottom line is you can keep a lot more of the money.
A lot
You
more.
keep
Lower your
significantly
tax
more.
bracket. Yep.
100%.
We call this creative accounting.
Creative accounting.
Yeah,
That's
you
right.
got to be careful though as well, because there are some accountants that will take it to the very far extreme and give you really horrible advice. I know a closer on our team is like, I do all my stuff in Dubai. I don't pay any taxes. I was like, that's you, man. That's
That's
on
right.
you, my friend.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I don't know about
That's
that. I don't
right.
know how legal that is, but you can
That's
roll
right.
that dice.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, that's an interesting situation. But if I'm assuming that's the same individual, that individual's also doesn't have residence in the U.S.
Correct.
So things might look different in
That's
his home
right.
country
Yes,
than they do
maybe.
for
Yeah.
us here.
Yeah, correct.
Because I know our
Oh, yeah,
government
there's no doubt.
doesn't
I mean,
like.
just to give you some perspective on how crazy the tax code is, like even if you renounce your citizenship, you're like, hey, I don't want to be part of the U.S. anymore, which is absolutely insanity.
Which is
And why
insanity,
would you
yeah.
ever do that? But let's just say, like the guy from the guy
Nordic?
who was the founder of
What is
one of
this?
the founding investors for Facebook.
Yes.
That Brazilian guy.
Yeah.
I forget his name, Marcelo something.
Yeah.
He
You renounced it?
He renounced the citizenship, and they changed the tax law. It's because of him.
Oh, they changed it because of him.
Correct.
Because
he's like,
I
I'm
got you.
expatriating $3 billion or whatever in profits. See you
That's
later.
crazy.
I'm not paying taxes on it.
That's crazy.
Jeez.
Whereas if you renounce citizenship now, I think you pay taxes for the next 10 years following you leaving the country, and they'll chase your ass down.
100%.
If there's one thing the government wants, is their money.
Their money.
There's no doubt about it. Give them their money. Back to the topic
Hey, yeah.
of love and money. Well, have you all? I'm curious, Rich, to hear your thoughts. How have you? Did you always feel the way you feel about money now? If not, what was your perspective prior to you starting One Call Closers, and what's that perspective look like now?
No, yeah. So, man, I mean, that's been a journey. That's probably been my toughest journey in this whole process is money. Only because it stems back, and Chubbs, we've talked about this. I mean, dude, I was just raised so much differently. Like I was raised in the traditional middle class mindset where everything was just save, save, don't spend, money doesn't grow on trees. Dude, like so much to the
Money's
fact
hard to get.
money's hard to get. And then like everything was just like you're spending like so my dad would come home and he'd be like, Rich, don't leave this house unless you turn off all the lights in the home.
Oh, my
right?
dad
That was
too,
a big
bro.
one.
Don't
Yeah.
leave
dad
this
too.
house with the air conditioner on.
Oh, yeah.
Don't leave this house, like, so everything was just like, it was just so, and I didn't know at the time, but it was just so scarcity driven. It was like everything, it was just scarcity. And now I'm looking back, right? And a lot of people can't relate to this because maybe some people are not in closing yet. But when you're in closing, right? And you realize in a half an hour conversation, you make $500 to $1,000,
Yeah.
right? And you're like, dude, my air conditioning, okay, if I leave it on for the whole month, maybe it's an extra $500 on my bill.
Maybe.
But you're like, dude, that's one deal.
You start looking at everything as
You-
deals.
You start looking, you start viewing the world differently,
New
right?
perspective.
New perspectives. And that's what happens is you start earning more and more money. It opens your mind to this whole different world. You had no, because look, if you're right now a W-2 making $25 an hour, you're like, dude, $500 is like 3 days of me working 40 hours
Yeah.
a week. If you have
So-
that perspective, I mean, money's a lot more scarce,
For sure.
right? And so that's why in the world of closing and sales and what we do, we got guys out going spending money because they know I know how to make money.
I can
can
make
go-
more.
I'll go make more. I'll go slam
close the
$1,000.
deal.
I'll get $1,000 commission in the next 30 minutes, and I'm gonna go buy a freaking watch with it. And it just opens your mind up to a whole nother world that until I found closing, I didn't know existed. Right? I just thought, hey, you get paid an hourly wage.
Right.
That's what
Time
I was.
for money.
Yeah, you time for money. I mean, look, okay, and here's the thing: closing, yes, you're spending time for money, right? You it's not like a passive thing where you can just do nothing and you're collecting a
Yeah,
paycheck.
right.
So in closing, you do spend time for money.
Right.
However,
The rate is way better.
the rate is just way freaking better.
Yes, 100%.
I mean, you can go from making $25 an hour to making $500 an hour.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Overnight.
Doctor,
Overnight.
lawyer money.
And that's like,
Well,
that's
I mean,
yeah.
I want to caveat
Yeah.
on the overnight thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there is
Well, yeah,
some
there's
skill,
that. Yeah, for
training,
sure.
and investment, right? It's not like
Yeah,
I want to be a
100%.
closer.
No.
And, you rub the genie and it
100%.
gives you your
Yes,
your
I should.
Although
caveat
I've seen
that.
some people come in and be the anomaly,
Yeah.
be that exception to the rule.
Well, sure,
Well,
there's
there
exceptions.
is.
There's
Yeah.
just always, but in general, we don't want to like, you know, come
false
join
perception.
call closers.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah,
$500 an hour.
Yeah. But I mean, so I don't know if that answers. But the money journey is a journey. It's a journey, bro. It's a journey, and you gotta get around it. You gotta be involved with it. We had the fortunate the ability to work with Bedros, and then I got to see how Bedros perceived money.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
and dude, you get anybody around like high level that knows how to make the money's going out. They're not worried about an extra $500 gas bill or a extra. You know, I'm gonna go and buy this thing. Like they're just worried about, dude, how can I create more income? How can I become more valuable? How can I get better at what I'm doing? How do I not live this scarcity-driven life, but this abundant life, knowing that, A, the government's always printing money, and somebody already has the money that I want, right? Like somebody already's got the money. And in sales, you're just exchanging your value for the money. So it sounds easy now that I talk about it, but man, that's a journey, bro. It was a long journey. I was probably like a 4-year journey until I could really get out of that scarcity mindset. And it's still a journey. But I mean, I'm talking about a battle for 4 years.
I think you're on almost the total opposite end of the spectrum now. Because I don't think you worry about that. You definitely leave lights on. You definitely leave that air conditioning bumping. You leave the sauna on for long periods of time because you're worried about how do I just go create more?
Yeah.
Not how do I save a little bit less.
Because it takes mental bandwidth.
100%.
Yeah.
You know, so you're going to use that mental bandwidth to worry about the extra $500 or how to go make an extra $100,000.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
so you got to figure out where you're going to put your mind, you know, and you'll start creating more of that in
That's
your
right.
life.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
are you focusing on making a $20 decision or a $2,000 decision? Right?
Mhm.
That's right.
Mhm. Well, so one thing I'm curious to hear both of your takes on, right? Because you guys are more active right now, taking sales calls.
Yeah.
Like you're in the game. You understand what's going on. So when you get a prospect who just can't even fathom making 6 figures a year, right? They're stuck at 60, they're at 70. Shoot, they tell us like, man, if I got to 80 from 60 or if I got to 90 from 80, like, dude, that'll change my life, right? And that's their perception is like, wow, 10,000 a year, that's gonna do that for you? Like 10,000 a month doesn't get me by here in California, you know what I'm saying? So I wanna ask you guys, like, how do you get someone to be able to shift, more so I guess for him, because you're on a little bit of a different offer.
For sure.
But I guess more so for Christian, but I'd love to hear your perspective on it. How do you get someone to believe that, especially if they've never been around an environment where anyone around them has made 6 figures, let alone multiple 6 figures? How is it like, how do you get that person from where they're at to like being able to believe that, man, no, actually adding an extra 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 is possible?
So that's a fantastic question, right? It is, right?
Yeah.
Well, so here's what I'll say though, right? Is so I'll talk to a lot of people, right? And I'll try to figure out, because here's what I'll say: a lot of people will flirt with the idea of wanting to make a lot of money, right? And I think that's where it just ends for them. It's not an actual thing that's like they really believe is possible.
They're interested in making money. They're not committed to making money.
Not even interested or committed, right? It's more of a belief, right? Because I'll talk to a lot of people and it's like, hey, I want to make this much money, right? And it's like, okay, well, what's stopping you from making that much money? And really it's just that they haven't really tried to pursue anything. So they'll flirt with the idea. I guess you can go with interested and committed, but it's they don't really believe they can. And so to your point, how do I get someone to shift that belief? That's a really hard thing to do. And so
in a 45-minute, 60-minute
Bingo.
call.
That's the thing. Right?
It is. It's hard to do, but I think what can help is really just having social proof that it's possible. You know, and I know a lot of individuals, myself is one of them. I can leverage myself as a story to show them. And a lot of people will relate with my story because it is a genuine story. It is a real story. I was doing construction. I was doing this stuff. I thought I was making good money. I wasn't making a lot of money. But I think the shifting of the belief, it's a hard one, because it's really going to come down to, I think, do they want to flirt with it, or is it something that they actually want to make a reality? And so I think there's 2 types of individuals there, and there's the people who will just continue to flirt with it, in which case they're not going to do anything to make it a reality. And there's going to be people who say, like I've had people say, oh no, I 100% believe I can make $20,000 a month. And I get really curious, right?
Yeah,
because I'm like,
I've
well,
heard you say this multiple times.
and it's 100% genuine, but I'm like, if you believe you can make 20,000, like where does the belief even come from? You know? And it's like, oh no, because I know what I can do. I know what my skill sets are, right? Right. But okay, so why are you not doing it?
Yeah.
You know? Where is that belief just literally internal, or do you know people that are doing this? Right? Like, because sometimes if you don't have the belief, you got to borrow it. Right. You know, so where is this belief coming in that you can make this $20,000 a month? And then if they can't answer that with an actual genuine answer, like, hey, I got people who are in high ticket closing, who are making this kind of money. I've seen the paycheck stubs. I know it's possible to do it. It's a different conversation for someone who just wants to rely on themselves, you know, and those are the people that I would say are more like flirting with the idea. And so then I'll just have a more honest conversation with the individual. Like, is it something you're actually serious about it or not? Because if it's the thing where you want to just play with it, just play with it.
One thing this guy does probably the best job of out of anyone I've seen, and this is crazy because he's only been here for 3 years, and I would say, dude, I remember the day me and Rich were just howling, laughing on the floor at your first few sales calls.
Oh, man.
I mean, I've never seen Rich
That
laugh.
was a laugh.
I mean,
I was laughing.
it was. I've never seen Rich laugh more on
remember.
anyone than during those times.
Oh, bro.
And I gotta tell you, bro, like
funny.
you're like a world-class closer right now, probably one of the best in the world at what you
I
do.
would appreciate
But
that.
I think it's because you also know how to bring that level of clarity for individuals on the call that they can't recognize and figure out themselves.
So for me, my beliefs in closing have shifted, right? And so my biggest thing is Closers Network. No one's got, you got the shirt.
Yeah,
on.
you
Come
got
on,
it.
come on,
Yeah,
come
yeah,
on,
yeah.
big
But
dog.
we have the money, impact, and freedom.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And so I feel like the money, impact, freedom is kind of the pillars, right?
Yeah.
And the cool thing with the pillars is I think people will derive it for themselves on what's most important, but all three of those things are still going to carry a level of value. The biggest one for me is always the impact. And I'm willing to lose deals over helping people. I've lost many deals where I've helped people recognize how to go out and make more money in their own businesses. My intention is always to serve and to allow the individual the opportunity to make an impact, whether it's with us or without us, right? Like I want to deliver value. That's where I am right now, right? And so for me, if I can deliver value, make an impact in your life, again, whether it's with us or it's not with us, what I realize is if you can make impact, you'll make money. Yeah. And you make a lot of money. And then again, we'll tell everyone, take the money, invest it, and then create the freedom for yourself.
We gotta hit that cash register.
So-
baby.
Oh, yeah, I hit it, baby.
Yeah, we're gonna hit the money counter.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Come on.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on.
But that for me, it's just putting people first.
You know, one thing you touched on that is huge because I came into Fit Body Bootcamp running a business, and that, you know, there's I guess some sales elements. Although I had a couple sales reps out at auctions, kind of bringing leads and generating that stuff, but in some way, shape, or form, I was selling. Now, one thing I didn't struggle with that I feel like a lot of people do in this space is the idea, like I knew I could make money because there was people around me making money.
Yeah.
I saw a lot
Yeah.
of money. I lived in Hollywood, for God's sake. There's money to my left, money to my right. I had family members making money, doing well for themselves. And so I got to see that. So I knew it's just a matter of time for me. But one thing that I did maybe struggle with transitioning into sales at the franchise was like, there was times where like, can I do this? Like, is it even possible? No, like seriously. Like,
Yeah.
No, myself as
you
well.
remember these times.
Yeah, 100%.
And the one thing that till today that stuck with me is I wrote it down because you said borrowed belief, right? Because although I believed I could make money, I wasn't necessarily sure if I could crush sales, like especially the franchise sales. Like maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe this is too hard. Maybe like da. So you get into this thought, and if it wasn't for him and Trish instilling that concept of like borrowed belief in me, like I don't know if I would have been able to figure it out, right? Awesome. They just kept telling me I can do it, and then surrounding myself with winners, and then seeing him, Trish, Chris, all these people closing around me. I was just like, dude, if they're doing it, like I can do it too. And then they just kept telling me that I could do it. They're like, dude, you're gonna crush it, you're gonna do it. And then eventually I ended up doing it, right? But that's powerful because even to today, when I get people coming on, I have to instill that borrowed belief in them. It's one of the biggest things that I think about when I have new salespeople getting trained up.
100%.
That belief too, right? Sometimes it can be like temporary, right? Like so you get
it fades.
It fades.
It fades.
Well, when
right?
the confidence drops, the belief fades, right?
The belief was there, I'm ready to do it. All of a sudden you're off, and all of a sudden you start to resort to your old ways of thinking, and the next thing you know, it's like, oh gosh, imposter syndrome kicks in, right? Oh my gosh, can I actually close deals? Because the same process that's been working for you for the last like 3 weeks, all of a sudden you didn't close a deal for 2 days, and all of a sudden it's like I gotta change everything up. Right. Can I do this? What's going on? Like all that stuff kind of comes into play too. So having the right support systems and networks does play a role because you get to borrow the belief. There's a lot of people that will see things in you that you won't see in yourself, and I'll play a huge testament to this guy. Like I'm sure he sees so much for me in my life that I don't even recognize, and I'm starting to see some of that starting to come out to play even now, where I feel like you've always seen it. But it's just, and you'll tell me like, Chubbs, I've seen this forever. I've always told you this. Like, I don't understand like why this sounds new to you, you know, but it's the belief piece, right? I borrowed it, but then now it's actually becoming from belief. It's becoming identity.
Shout out to Rich, a little applause.
So, yeah.
There you go.
100%.
So,
Yeah, Richard.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, good.
Well, you know what I find, and here's the thing too.
Leader.
Well, you know what I find fascinating is like, you know, you look at Chubbs, right? You're one of the top earners in the company right now. You are Mike, man, of course, my sisters, Trish, of course, but you know, George is George is the man when it comes to making money. But if you notice the commonality with all those people is proximity, right? Like Chubbs, you've had a lot of proximity to Mike. You know, Mike's been able to pour in you. I've been able to pour in you. My sister's been able to pour in you. George stays close. George has always stayed close, bro.
He has.
He's always trying to learn. He's always trying to upgrade. He's staying close to Ian. He's staying close to Trish. So it's the proximity, man. And the closer you are to those people in your life that can continue to speak into you and give you the information that you need and to level you up when you don't think you can level up.
Or just a little
perspective a little perspective shift, right?
A little tiny one.
Little golden nugget.
And here's the thing, man, is like so many people don't take advantage of that, you know, because maybe they think I'm going to bother this person or I don't want to annoy this thing. But I'll tell you right now, Mike, you could probably attest to this. When I got into Bedros's company, I annoyed the crap out of Bedros. I was like, dude, I'm not going to let this opportunity slip by. I'm going to text him. I'm going to ask him what books I should be reading. I'm going to stay. Hey, B, let's go to lunch. Hey, B, can I just pick your brain for 5 minutes, man? I want to work out with you, B. I was that guy, dude, because I knew I had opportunity. I was like, bro, I need to be close to this guy because if I'm close to this guy, my life will change. I don't know how, but I just felt it, right? Yeah. But there's so many people that have that opportunity, but you got to take advantage of it, right?
Yes.
And Chubbs, you did. I mean, you stayed close. Now you're my cousin.
Yeah.
And obviously that's a benefit.
That's a huge ability to stay close.
But you stay close, you know, and the closer you stay and the more proximity, man, you just. Well, I think it pays off.
To your point, right? It's not just you though. It's you, it's Trish, it's Mike,
100%.
Even George. I don't know if you guys know, but me and George, like for a while, we've carried side conversations, you know. And he's like, I hit a point where it was like, hey, you know what? I want George to like kind of be part of that inner circle group along with Ferdy, right? And so we have our own little thing.
That's right.
And so it's like, hey, let's get all these guys together, just create a level of accountability even within the closing side of things. And to your guys' also point of George, like always wanted to be close. We're still trying to find a way to get you out here, right? But George,
why do you think I brought my wife out here? We're driving up in the hills before here.
Yeah.
We came here.
Yeah,
gotta get you inside the lake next.
Yeah, just pay those moving expenses. I'll be down here.
But no, George is like, I remember you made the comment. You're like, dude, like I need to do whatever I need to do to be close to you guys. You made a comment, and I forget where that comment came from. Maybe it was in a short form video or you filmed something. I forget what it was, but I remember you said something that you're like, or maybe it was at an event we were talking. You're like, I need to be around you guys.
There's a vibe, man.
Yeah.
There's a vibe.
That's what it was.
100%.
It was an event. It was the first summit that we did. It was after I think Mike spoke and we did the stuff. You're like, I just realized after talking to Mike and myself, you're like, I need to be around these guys and I need to be as close as I can to Rich, is what you said.
And he does it.
And here he is.
I will say this. In my opinion, I think we, as a company, do the best job replicating that same in-person feeling as much as we can virtually.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
100%.
any other company out there that's able to give as much of that in-person vibe virtually as we do in the space. I wholeheartedly believe that.
We try.
The culture is next level. I mean, you have so much proximity you could still have virtually with all the coaches, all the leaders. George has probably talked to over 100 people on the team and helps people like on the team, even people that just DM you, I bet you all the time, you know, reaching out to you, you're reaching out to us, vice versa. And I think there's something special about that too. So although like most of us are remote and most of us are virtual, I do believe we do a phenomenal job as much as we could replicating that virtually.
The other thing is the culture, well, at least on the V-Shred side of things, I mean, I'm sure it's pretty similar in the other offers, but
it's a lot better.
Depends on who you ask, huh?
Just the quality of people that we're able to attract.
100%.
Top-notch people. Unbelievably.
So, hey, I don't want to say too much about other sales agencies, but me and Chubbs were talking about a sales agency today that's, you know, kind of like a one-call closers, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like to your point, George, they employ or they bring on a much younger crowd and a much more rambunctious type of environment where it's kind of like
business bro
vibe.
Frat.
Yeah, frat like a fraternity.
Yes.
And we've been hearing some things, again, not to mention names, but I think to your point, man, like the people you bring onto the company,
Matters.
I mean, that matters
100%
a lot.
it does.
A lot
100%.
it matters.
100%.
And I think we try to filter that pretty good.
I got a pretty strict. I don't know what the word is, but
Role, heuristic, whatever.
yeah, I mean, I just like we don't like so. Again, me and the team will take interviews, a lot of them, and not everybody gets through, right? And so, like for us, like I'll say if you're someone who's looking to come on the team, right, and this is something you actually want to do, and you end up on a call with one of us, we're looking for people who are open to growing,
Right.
Yeah. Like the individuals, like if you're someone you feel like you know everything, you've already limited yourself, you've already stopped, you created the cap,
Yeah, dude.
and it just doesn't fit within the environment of who we are as an organization and as a company of one that is growing, right? And so we grow within the closers, we grow within the leadership, we grow from the top. Like from the top down, everyone is always learning and getting better.
100%.
The company's been around for like almost 6 years now, and we know a lot, right? We don't know everything, I would say, but I mean, we're always looking to level up and improve. Hence, going to coaching events, seminars, and things of this nature as well.
Yeah.
That's right.
Constant and never.
Can I?
Yes, Tony.
Can I?
Yes, Tony.
Can I?
It's so interesting though. Most of our team members are probably in the 30 to 50 range.
Yeah.
I would say so.
now
Yes,
that you say-
I would say so.
But here's the interesting that I find. Up until about a month or two ago, I found it interesting. One of the top earners was the youngest person on the team without giving age, and the
crazy.
second or one of the top earners was also the oldest closer on the team.
Yeah.
I think you know what I'm talking about. But
That's crazy.
that is
crazy.
an interesting dynamic, right? And they're both representing the same offer, but they're always in the top 5, top 10, and they're always crushing.
That's a really good point. Yeah, I
And
didn't think about that.
to that point too, right? Whenever someone like wants to give me like a resume, and not that I like want to discredit someone's resume or their skill set, right? But I would always hold that resume basically up underneath the fire of our youngest closer. Because we've got individuals, we've got 10, 15, 20, 30 years sales experience, right? And the young lady was just blowing them all out of the water,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
and I'm like, so your resume and your skill set and what you've done is fantastic, right? But to me, not that it doesn't carry weight, it's just like, I would always compare it to this individual. And it's like, this is who the competition is, right? So, and brand new to sales,
100%.
knows nothing, came in, learned, and just absolutely dominated the account, you know? So again, I don't want to discredit anyone's sales or their skills or their
100%,
abilities because there is value in what they have. But to me, I feel like it just holds a little bit less weight, to be honest, because at the end of the day, you still got to get on the calls and you still got to close the deals. And that's what's going to, what do you say, Mike?
100%.
Numbers talk, money speak.
Words talk, numbers scream.
Yeah, right? So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying.
Hey, you know what? Can I give a fun little story real
Please,
quick?
let's do it.
So this is before you got started in closing, Chubbs,
Okay.
right? Okay. And this is when you were kind of intrigued by the idea of high ticket. So one day, Chubbs comes upstairs. Upstairs, we were running a
yes.
we were running a live event for Dean Graciosi and Tony Robbins, right? So Chubbs says, "Hey man, I want to come down, just see what you guys do.
Yeah,
What's
yeah.
this high ticket closing all about, right?"
I thought it was nonsense.
Yeah, he thought it was nonsense. So he comes over. We got about 8 closers up there. Everybody's stacked. Their calendars are stacked, right? It's about 5, 6 p.m. at night.
I'm there.
I think you
Yeah,
might
I'm
be there.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
I think
there.
I think
You were
Mike's
closing.
closing there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Right upstairs.
Right upstairs.
You were in the
Yeah,
office.
yeah. It was,
You were in the
yeah,
office.
he was right upstairs in the office. So you know, Chubbs is there, and he's just like, "Okay, what's this all about?" So he comes over and he goes over to my sister Marisa, because Marisa was closing at the time for this Dean and Tony offer, and she was having a great night. She
It was a
just
fantastic
She was on
night.
fire, dude. She couldn't not close anybody. Like it was just that type of night. So Chubbs is watching her, and she closes a deal,
Boom,
10K.
boom, boom.
He's watching her, she closes another deal. He's watching her, she closes another deal. He's watching. She closes another. I think she closed 5 or 6 deals
I don't know,
back to back to back. And Chubbs is like,
Getting credit card number over the phone.
she's just getting credit cards. Boom, boom, boom. Deal 10K, 10K, 10K. Chubbs is like, whoa, dude, this is like, whoa. Like, so he goes,
I'm like Rich.
he goes, Maurice, how much money did you make?
Yeah.
She goes something like, oh, I just made $7,000.
It was like 6,500.
yeah, 6,500. I'll
was like 4
never forget
hours.
the look on this guy's face. He didn't even know what to say. He
Hey,
was just,
show me a paycheck for
Yeah,
$70,000. I quit my job right now and come work for you,
and
bro.
that was
That's
kind of
what
that
happened
was
to me.
kind of the moment
Yeah.
where he's
Yeah.
like, bro, you know what? Whatever you're doing, I'm doing that.
I'm in. I
Yeah.
went. I didn't quit right then. I gave the 2 weeks notice.
Yes. Yes.
I gave 2 weeks notice, but yeah, I did. I literally quit my job. Went into it full steam. I know you would have put me in a bad spot. I know Marisa saw what she was doing, And kind of like what you were saying, right? Like you see people doing it, it's like, why can't I do it?
That's right.
100%.
And so I said, well, let's do it.
Especially for you, it's probably easier because like
I have
a couple
huge,
of St. Cloud with my cousins. Like,
absolutely. Huge,
that was a benefit.
Huge benefit
sure.
that
100%.
most people don't have. Absolutely. But what I did do is I did get to come in and see it. And seeing is believing. You know, I literally, and you came out. I remember that you had like a section where I think you didn't close a deal. You came out, you were a little bummed, and you know, Mike, you get like you're very energetic. You're energetic. You get amped up, but it didn't close. It's like, I almost had this one. But then you close one. That's how I was going through. Marissa closed, and then you come out, and those whole other guys like, oh man,
he was that guy, dude. He knew how to get
I have some videos.
Everybody amped up.
I have some videos.
Bro. Oh, it was awesome.
But yes, that was what kickstarted my journey, and I'll always credit it back actually to your sister and my wife actually, because I wouldn't be doing this if those two weren't hanging out as much. Because for whatever reason, Sarah was always hanging out with Marissa.
Yeah, his wife was the one that pushed him to do it.
She's the one who pushed me to do this.
For her, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was more like, you know, I'm going to climb the corporate ladder. You know, I'm going to go and become a project manager. And that was kind of the plan. But she's just like, babe, she's like, you know, I don't know. I think you should talk to Rich, you know, and just see what's going on. And Marissa kept telling her, like, I think Christian will do really, really well at this. Yeah. And I was like, I don't even know what they're doing. I think they're like scamming people.
Multi-level marketing.
Something's going on.
How many people have multi-level marketing?
Well, but that's why I come in and you would simplify. You'd be like, Chubbs, you get on a call, you make, you know, $300, $500, $700, you know, and I was like, in 30 minutes. And I just remember calling BS.
Yeah, BS. Yeah.
So I was like, BS. There's no way, right?
I'm glad you said this because that's how a lot of people think about high ticket sales right now.
Yeah,
it's just they think they're calling BS. There's no way you can make $10,000 a month. There's no way. I'm like, bro, you think $10,000 is a lot in remote high ticket sales?
Yeah, 100%.
So, but you got to be careful too, because I would say in today's day and age, even with all the social media content, it is the buzzword. You know, it is. It's like high ticket sales, get in, make $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month, work from anywhere in the world. And all of that's true. But here's what I'll say is you got to have the right vehicle.
Yeah, you got to have the right vehicle. That's right.
There's a lot of opportunities in the space. There's a lot of startups in the space. And I think startups are we were a startup at one point.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. And here's the thing. I would say majority of the startups that I've seen and from the individuals I've spoken to, majority don't pan out. Right. Or they're in the midst of just figuring things out.
Well, over 90% of small businesses fail in just like, I think 5 years is the number, something like that.
Yeah.
Think about a business in the last 5 years scaling over $200 million in revenue.
Yeah. That's
versus the statistic of usually that business would have been out of business.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, not everybody makes it. Once you see, I would say, is one of the ones that we've actually made it, and we're continuing to scale and grow.
Yeah.
But the space itself is I'll say, and I'll tell everybody, it's just there's more people now in the world who are becoming aware of remote high ticket sales that are saying, hey, I want to get into that, right?
100%.
But there's not enough opportunities for everybody.
Yeah.
And that's the hard part. And not that there's not enough opportunities. Let me rephrase that.
Solid, legitimate, reputable offer.
Yeah,
yes.
That's right.
Because there is opportunity, but then you go from I keep talking one bad offer, the next bad offer, the next bad offer. So it's a common theme.
100%.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys want to just see some of the offers we have and some of the faces we represent, guys, go to the #1callclosers.com, onecallclosers.com. Check us out. Just see some of the people we sell for. Rich and I, over the last year, have been on a couple one-on-one calls, one with Ty Lopez, if you remember, another one with Alex Ramosi. And we asked them that question, like, hey, man, like, what do you think about this space that we're in? And they were both fired up. They were like, dude, this is the next 10 to 20 years is the influencer economy. Like, this is the next thing. Like, this is the rise of the individual, the rise of the brand.
Yeah,
this is what the next 10 to 20 years is. So it's only going to go bigger. And I found that really interesting to hear from those two guys in the space.
100%. So, hey, George, I got a question for you.
Yes,
right? So somebody's listening right now. They're like, high ticket. They've been doing research, whatever. But, like, how would you describe a day in the life as a high ticket closer? Like, what does that life look like? You know what I mean?
Sure. So we actually covered this on the podcast, but for me, before I get on calls, I want to be like totally mentally clear.
100%.
Right? I want to be dialed in. I want to be ready to go. Right? Yeah. So usually I don't start my first call until 9:30.
9:30. So okay, there you go. So you get up.
No, I get up at 6.
You get up at 6,
I'm
but
up at 6.
Are you kind of a guy that gets up to your alarm clock, or you just get up when you just get up? Yeah.
So we were just talking about it. So I was telling them I'm taking this new supplement.
100%. Yeah.
This is getting fun.
L-theanine, right? So
Okay.
I'm taking L-theanine.
I've heard of it. I don't take it. But yeah.
and I'm like having unbelievable sleep now.
Oh, I'm gonna take it, dude.
So-
I'm
I
taking
ordered it.
I'm
I'll send
taking
you the
this.
link.
I'm taking
Yeah,
it.
so I take 2 tablets, have unbelievable sleep, wake up before my alarm goes on.
Wow.
Okay, so you're just
Okay.
waking up without an alarm.
Yeah.
Waking up, I'm
Naturally.
Like, I'm
Which they say is the best way to go, by the way. They
Bradley
say that,
wakes up the
that
same
yeah,
way.
that no
and
alarm's
I
the
live
best
in
way.
Chicago, dude, so it's pitch black when I wake up still.
Yeah.
Okay? It's
Well,
like winter.
Yeah, there you
right?
go.
So
yeah,
it's
for
ugly.
sure.
I'm like, it's dark, but like, wow, my alarm hasn't gone off. Cool.
Cool. Yeah, yeah.
So I'll get up, turn off the alarm, I'll go downstairs, I'll meditate 10, 15 minutes. Then I'll get a cup of coffee, I'll hydrate. I was telling him that I do this salt thing in my coffee, which is
Got
really,
it.
really good.
Okay, got
And
it.
then
Element.
Element. Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
He
we have
takes
Element.
the
We have-
the cans.
We have the cans. We have
So
all
he
bunch
gets
of
the
cans.
actual salt and puts it in his coffee.
Yeah,
the
we have that
chocolate
too.
flavor.
We have that too.
Yeah,
For,
there's
yeah,
a
for sure.
chocolate flavor. when
Oh,
you
the
put
chocolate.
coffee.
I don't even know they have chocolate
Yeah.
flavor, but
Oh,
that's
so
that's really
good.
good,
So
yeah.
good.
Oh,
and
interesting.
then I'll listen, to a book or read or whatever, and then I'll journal, and then help my kids get ready for
Spend
school.
time with the kids,
Yeah.
the wife,
Yep.
type deal. Yeah. Okay,
And
cool.
then I'm ready to go.
Boom.
9:30, I'm on my first call.
9:30.
Usually stacked back to back.
Yep.
So maybe for half an hour or maybe 5 or 10 minutes, I'll confirm my calls. Same day confirmations. Just say, hey, you got a call. You still gonna make it? Anything change? Yes, yes, yes. No, can't make it. Cool. Reschedule. Get somebody else in the calendar.
Boom, boom, boom.
And then on the offer right now, it's only I've got 65% show, 55%, something like that. It's not the best,
Yeah.
right?
But by the way, George is the number one dude on the offer right now as you're
100%.
speaking.
Yeah.
As we're
number one
speaking.
dude.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So so I'll take those calls, and just every half hour I'm doing a call, having a conversation, seeing what their goals are,
Yeah.
helping them realize, how they're going to reach those goals. And sometimes we have alignment, sometimes we don't.
100%.
When we do, hopefully we're selling an AK package.
AK
Yeah.
package, yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, you have the highest AOV right now to average order value right
Nice.
now.
Thank you.
So your average commission is what per deal? Like I think you got a 4,000 AOV.
Yeah.
Yeah. So 6 times 4, 14%,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. $600 a deal.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah. So, and when things are going well, 2 deals a day. So
There you go.
I'm always shooting to collect at least 10 right now in November, December. And then.
And this is a slow season.
Correct.
Yeah, this is a slow season. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
January's around the corner, baby.
Yeah.
We were
Right.
talking
And the
about
goal,
it.
Yeah.
the goal is to do $1 million in Q1
Woo!
in 2025.
$1 million
Oh.
cash collected.
Yeah.
So that's
Q1.
that's 330,000.
Yeah.
333. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, plus some gravy, right? Because you're gonna get
Oof.
refunds and stuff. But
Wow.
that's what I'm gonna do. That's
Ooh,
the goal.
wow.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Love it.
So what I didn't hear you say, stuck in traffic,
Nope.
had to get up, go to a boss you hate, go to a job that you can't stand, getting paid an hourly wage for doing more work than that you're doing. Like
Correct.
none of that stuff.
The
And
best part is,
yeah.
when I'm learning, it's like I get to use that stuff on my calls.
100%.
You're like, okay, it's like, okay, I was telling like listening to Jordan Peterson right now. So it's like, clean your own house before
Yes.
you try to help clean the world.
100%.
Right. So it's like,
100%.
okay, somebody's talking about, this problem. This was like, okay, you've got all these things that you're trying to control right now, but
Yeah.
your fitness is out of control.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
one thing you can figure out right now.
100%.
Right? By making a decision.
100%.
Then you can do the other stuff.
That's
You
right.
have the energy, the motivation, the excitement, right?
That's right.
Let's do it.
Boom.
He's in alignment, baby.
That's right.
Oh,
Yeah.
we talked about alignment. Seriously.
Absolutely.
We did talk
Absolutely.
about that. It's one thing to be in the grind mode. It's another thing to be in alignment. I remember
it's
Thatcher
fun.
talk about that a lot.
The calls are fun when you're doing in your alignment, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm doing what I'm telling other people to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? So it's like the conversations are way better rather than you get to the end and be like, oh, but let me reframe you this thinking and that thinking.
Yeah.
Let me use my NLP technique on you.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Oh, that's
dude,
hilarious.
come on, bro. I don't want to do that. That's too much work.
Yes. It gets a little out there, man. It gets a little out there with all these techniques now because everybody's trying to be different.
Yeah.
Everybody's trying to be
Most
different.
everybody tries to teach the objection stuff, right?
Yes.
It's like
I prefer the no objection stuff.
dude. All day. All day.
I'll take it all. It is, man. I'll see. It's like, hey, I need to reframe this so that I can say this, so that I can. This is the objection I'm supposed to get, so that I can show them how to over. What if you just don't get the objection?
Right?
Like, just do a better job of showing the value and solve the problem. And the reality is,
Yeah.
you still might get some objections, right? But like,
You're still gonna get
if,
some.
if
right?
you do everything the way you're supposed to,
Should
and
weed
again,
out a
for
lot of
me,
it.
out of alignment, which is what it sounds like he's in, which is what I'm in,
That's right.
and intention sounds like helping people and focusing on people, then what you're gonna find is you don't get objections at the end of the call. You solve a problem and you get people who actually make a decision that's gonna better themselves. You get to do that. You feel good about it.
That's
100%.
right.
It's a win.
Right, we were talking about it, right? So like you're in this possibility thinking.
Yeah,
versus
possibility.
problem
That's
thinking.
right.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
right.
Right?
That's
Because
right.
people live in the problems. It's like problem here, problem there. They focus on the problems, and guess what?
They get more problems.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You create them so that you can
Solve them.
Solve them.
Yeah, solve them. That's right.
Where I want to focus on possibilities, man. So
100%.
Yeah.
I want more possibilities.
100%.
You
I love
get
it.
But it's
what
so hard. You
focus
can't
on.
do. But dude, think about it. Like, how hard is that? It's so hard to live in possibility, bro, because you're so attached to the negative. If you think about your day, what do you love to attach your mind to? All the negative stuff.
That's
Right?
how the brain is wired.
That's how the
though.
brain's wired. So it's like telling somebody to live in possibility when like all day long they can only think about the negative, right? My bank account sucks. I'm fighting with my wife. I hate my job. I got to get up early. Like all these negative things going on. And it's like thinking possibility. How do you do that? I mean, obviously you do it. We try to do it.
Yeah,
but
you gotta practice. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just learned like everything else, right?
Yeah.
And we're wired like from an evolutionary standpoint, like to be afraid of the tiger that's gonna
You
That's
are
right.
100%
or
all
the
day
snake,
long.
the snake rattling, right? The leaves
Yes.
rattling. It's like, oh, it's the snake in the bushes. No,
100%.
it's just some wind blowing the leaves, dude. Chill the hell out.
Yeah.
Chill the hell out.
Right?
That's right.
But we're like paranoid, and if we choose to stay in that paranoid mode, thinking that the lion is always going to jump out of the bushes, then it's like, okay, I'm always looking for the lion. I don't want to be looking for the
Yeah, I don't
lion.
want to be like
Now-
that. Yeah.
Now
That's
our ancestors, they were good at that. That's why we're here.
That's right.
Because when the lion was there, they could run away.
They had to look out for the lion.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the lion's not there anymore.
right.
Guys.
That's
There's
right.
no more lion.
That's right. Yeah.
The possibility and the problem. So I don't know. I wanted to say something on that because I thought it was interesting. Oh, I was going to say that it to that point, right? As you were saying, most people kind of think in the negative, right?
100%.
And I feel like I don't think as much in the negative anymore, but negative things can happen. And so
But you've had like a rewiring.
no, yeah, that's what I'm
process.
saying.
Yeah.
As I thought about what you were saying, for the people who are probably listening, it's
That's
probably
back
a
to the
lot-
proximity.
Yes, correct. So
yeah.
to that point, I guess leveling up is getting around the people who I think bigger and do bigger things than you.
100%.
100%.
Absolutely.
So okay,
It's the name of the game, baby.
fantastic.
It's the name of the game.
Yeah, I remember that's the biggest thing Bedros did for me, dude, because I was in my thoughts. I was always in my head. And I just saw that he wasn't that way. And he kept talking about how you shouldn't be. And then you start thinking like how he starts thinking just by being around him.
By
Right?
being-
It's like
yeah.
you just become a whole different person, dude. And you're like,
Yeah.
and then it's like when you're maybe like, you're out for a week or two, you're on vacation or something, like you're like, okay, I'm not around that environment. I'm going back into these patterns. And it's like, I gotta get back into this proximity, bro. Like it really makes a difference.
It makes a
really
difference, bro.
Oh,
It
one of
makes
the
a
things
difference.
that Peterson was saying is like, if you're like living in the problems, right? You're looking at all the negative stuff, like my
Yeah.
bank account sucks, I'm fighting with my wife, my job
Yeah.
sucks. Just
Yeah.
like, what one small thing can you do? Just a small thing
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
you can at least
Yes.
say, I accomplished this.
Yes.
Right? And I'm going to reward myself.
Yes.
Right? And if you do one small thing
Yeah.
every single day, right?
Yeah.
Then you start, maybe I'm going to do two small things.
Mhm.
Right? Then I'm going to do three small things.
Yeah.
Right? I'm going to kiss my wife and tell her I love her and I appreciate her.
Yeah. That's right.
Right?
Wow,
Instead-
that's working out great in my marriage.
Yeah.
right?
That's
and then,
right.
And then you're like, wow, my wife is really appreciative of me now.
Yeah.
Why is that?
What changed?
Yeah. What changed?
And then all that stuff starts compounding.
Yeah.
And it's
that's
like you did 1,000 small things and you're moving the earth.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's the idea anyway.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then they're gonna be like, well, what's that one secret, George?
Being
Tell me the
like,
one
oh my
secret.
God, dude,
You're like,
I
what do you
can't-
mean one secret? I've been doing 1,000 things for the last freaking year. You know what I mean? Like years. Yeah, years.
Years and years, right?
And you're looking for the one secret. It's
The one
like, well, I
thing.
mean, bro.
Shortcut.
Yeah.
Here's the first one.
Yeah.
Start with doing one thing.
The one thing. Yeah.
That's the secret.
I want the magic
100%.
pill. So you
Yeah.
totally red pilled
Good
this
stuff.
guy into high ticket sales.
Oh man. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he kind of red pilled himself, to be honest. But yeah.
All he needed to
I
do
saw the
was hear those
opportunity.
16 digits, bro,
Yeah.
four at a time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
We put it there. That we
You
said, hey, red pill, blue pill, you take it, bro.
Yeah,
You
red.
pick it. Yeah. You already know what is
Yeah,
it?
no,
You already know
I'm good.
in the
With that
Matrix which one
lens.
is it? Which
The
one is
blue,
it? That
I think it's the
takes?
blue is the
Back
one
to
where
the
you
Matrix.
stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
So
takes
he
the
already
red.
knew what the
Yeah.
blue pill
I
looked
was
like.
already in the blue pill.
You're already in the blue
You
pill.
already know where that
you
road ends, Neo.
Yes.
I was
you already
looking
know
up-
where that road ends, Neil.
You know what I was thinking as you were talking about taking 16 digits? I remember I love that.
That line?
Four at a time. I was
Oh,
ready
yeah,
for the
yeah,
expiration.
yeah.
But like back when we were selling the Dean and Tony Robbins account, Dean Graziosi, Tony Robbins, we didn't really have financing options back in
Oh
the day,
my
bro.
gosh.
And it was like credit card or
Nothing.
debit
Cash.
card, baby.
Yeah, That's right.
That was it.
Wire transfer.
wire
Yeah, wire
transfer.
transfer.
I did a lot of wire
Yeah, wire
transfers. I'm
transfer,
like,
yeah.
all this stuff that's happening now, I'm like, it's making it so much more accessible for people
Oh.
to be able to get
For
in.
all
Like, it
offers.
should be easier
Yes.
too, right?
Oh,
Like,
100%.
It also
Yeah.
makes it easier for the lower quality offers to get into. Right. So
That's
now,
true.
So now you can finance a crap offer, and now a company like Affirm or Klarna or whatever will be like, we're kicking you out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a new thing. That's a very.
I feel
new
like
thing.
that actually lowered my sales skills.
It absolutely does. It makes it's totally a crutch.
100%.
Yeah, because most people will just default straight to it. Where before you couldn't. If I was taking $20,000, it was like that person found like 4 cards to put it on.
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
right.
that's exactly
No, yeah,
That's how they did
it was, and that was cool.
Yeah,
But when you came out it made it easier.
and
But
I
I
guarantee
feel
you
like
that person
yeah.
still has the 4 cards, but nobody asked for them.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Everybody acts like they don't have any cards anymore.
Yeah.
It's like I don't have a credit card.
That's a
What are you
great
talking about?
point, Rich.
It's like everybody's got the. I think they said the average person has 4 credit cards in their wallet.
I got
in
about
the U.S.
probably
Yeah, in the U.S. Yeah, in the U.S.
I mean, we're so blessed in the U.S. with credit,
Oh.
and it's like this is a thing, right? So
the whole
people
world
who
lives on
don't, the world doesn't live that way,
well,
No,
yeah.
and they don't have they don't have access to
Yeah.
the money, and they
Yeah.
don't have access to like financing or like buying homes, real estate. It's like we're so fortunate.
I believe that was 1971 when that all changed. I think 1971 is when the U.S. dollar got off the gold standard. And as soon as the U.S. dollar got off the gold standard, what did they introduce?
Credit.
Debt. And then now there's a lot of benefits of debt, obviously, but there's a lot of
People who
people
misuse
that
it.
misuse it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People
Well, it's
that
so
don't know how
new,
to
right?
be
It's so new to
responsible.
So
people, right?
new.
But you know what? There's a book out there. It's called like Debt: The First 5,000 Years or something. So it's an old concept, right? So I didn't read it, but
Yeah.
it's on my list.
Well, now
Okay.
now we're paying for it. Tell you that.
Yeah, it's funny because my dad never had like an official education here. He came in at 16 and just worked at a gas station, ended up opening a gas station, ended up eventually getting a mechanic shop and getting into that. But he told me there's 3 things being an immigrant here. He's like, you need to know 3 things in the U.S. He's like, you need to understand taxes, credit, and real estate. And it just stuck with me because I was like, man, school didn't teach me any of that crap. I was like, why isn't the school teaching me about this stuff? And so I had to go out there and independently learn
It does
about
now.
it.
You just gotta go
100%.
online to school online.
School.
SKOOL.
That's right. SKOOL.
That's
Dang.
done you, and that's done you a lot of good, bro. Because I mean, those 3 things: taxes, real estate, and what's the last
Credit.
one? And credit, bro. You have good on all those. I mean, you have real estate.
real estate.
Yeah.
Your credit's freaking phenomenal, and you know the I mean, you have a tax guy that's helping you save a bunch of money on taxes.
I need a more creative one like George is talking about.
Yeah.
because Mine's a little too conservative.
Yeah.
Guys, any final thoughts? Move to Dubai.
Move to Dubai.
Yeah. Renounce your citizenship. That's what you got. Yeah.
This is
That I
not
will
legal
never
tax
do.
advice.
Guys, any final thoughts? Anything you guys want to talk about that we haven't brought up or chat about here?
Bro, I think we wrap it up. We need some closers, huh, Mike?
Yeah. Hey, if there's one thing we need, it's some closers right now, guys. And so if that's you out there right now and you're looking, we're going back to what we said earlier, the right vehicle, right?
That's right.
Then that's exactly what we have, guys. And if that's you, make sure you click the first link in the description below. This is my 3rd podcast today. Description below and get involved with us. You might end up on a call with Christian. You might end up on a call with someone on Christian's team, but you will end up on a call with us, guys, and just see and find out if this opportunity is the one that really just makes the most sense for you, right? See if you could qualify and see if you can get in the door. Because if you could, and you couldn't become a part of like the 400 or so reps that we have in our sales agency, you will be making impact, you will be having some freedom, and the money's gonna come along with that. So make sure you click the link in the description below and get involved with us. And by the way, you could also get on our school page, SKOOL, that is, the Closers Network, guys. The same team leaders and the same individuals that are sitting right here that have scaled our sales agency to over, straight your heads in the frame.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the same individuals that have scaled our sales agency to over $200 million in just the last 5 years are the same folks that give you 5 days a week live free coaching. And by the way, guys, we have courses in there we give you for free that normally cost $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 that everybody else is charging for. You can literally get it for free. So we'll hope to see you on the other side.
There you go.
And guys, thank you so much for making this happen. I'm excited for our Christmas party tomorrow. We're going to tear it up.
We're gonna tear it up.
And let's do it. I hope to do this again pretty soon.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Awesome.
Thank you.
See you guys. Peace.
Peace.